right, we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I am your comedian slash meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson, and I'll be bringing you all of tonight's top vibe stories. The weather is just vibes all the way up and down. The weather is just like vibes for the planet, man. And I'm going to tell you what those vibes are. Vibe check on the earth. Daily vibe check on the earth. Okay, let's go ahead and get started by checking out those headlines, shall we? First of all, over in Indonesia, they are battling rampant flooding, torrential downpours of rain. You can see here this man trying to get his water buffalo to move out of the water. Very challenging task because he do not want to move. That water buffalo just wants to stay right there, stick and stay. But this guy's like, no, that's my livestock, man. That's not just my property. This is my baby boy, This is my baby boy, the bull. And I'm not going to give up. I'm not going anywhere without my water buffalo. And I'm being sound a little jokey, but it really is sweet to see somebody trying really hard to lead this animal to safety. Because that's the most heartbreaking thing with these natural disasters is when there's so many warnings that humans can get, but there's not warnings that animals can get other than just the general vibe of it being about to rain. You can see how bad the flooding is there. That is because a river jumped its banks. It is broken away from the mountain and went right through the city. This is over in East Java, Indonesia. Let's see, what was the name of the mountain and river? The Pe River from Mount Agropuro jumped out of its banks, had a flash flood. 12 houses were damaged and 200 people were affected, but thankfully there were no casualties. So, if it rains heavily for more than an hour, residents are advised to evacuate to a safer place. There's always a risk of subsequent flash floods. This happened on January 9th. Next, speaking of islands, Ghost Island appears in NASA images and then mysteriously vanishes. Well, it's not very mysterious. What this is called a mud volcano. This is off the east coast of Azerbaijan, in the Caspian Sea. This erupted in 2023, and it didn't do a magma eruption. It was a mud volcano, which is when gases and pressure build up in the earth and kind of bubble up to the surface, but they don't really just off gas. They mostly pressurize out a mix of fluids, gases, and sediments to the surface. That results in this little buildup of sediments, this little fleeting island right here, which once it gets to the surface of the Caspian Sea, starts to erode almost immediately. So as soon as this little island was invented, it all of a sudden started to dissolve. So you can see here that really cool plume of sediment wearing away from the island formed by the mud volcano, demonstrating some nice wake eddies, some vortex shedding from a point obstruction in a laminar flow. A really interesting visual phenomenon, a cool fluid dynamics thing. Very pretty. Little whirls, big whirls, all that. Yeah, but mud volcanoes, they exist. They're under-researched, and they're really cool. So Ghost Island. Hurricane force winds caused widespread damage in Alaska's largest city. This is in Anchorage, Alaska. Thousands of residents across Alaska's largest city were still without power Monday, a day after the powerful storm brought hurricane force winds and downed power lines, damaged trees, and forced more than a dozen planes to divert, and caused a pedestrian bridge over a highway to partially collapse. So there's this one highway south out of Anchorage. It's the Seaward Highway. And the little pedestrian bridge over that highway collapsed onto the highway because of these high winds. There were 107 mile per hour wind gusts and 75 mile per hour gusts inside of the city. Hurricane force winds start at 74 miles per hour, just so you know. So these are hurricane force winds. Oh, and there was 132 mile per hour wind gusts at a mountain weather station south of Anchorage. So a low pressure system in the Bering Sea brought high winds. And yeah, basically that armpit of the Pacific Ocean coastline, it just spiraled the perfect way to create hurricane force winds here. A family, Stephen Wood and his family, were having breakfast Sunday morning when they saw their neighbor's roof partially blow off and head right towards them. So crazy stuff right there. It hit their house. It's down the hallways, down the stairs, actually separated the drywall in the bedrooms. It's hit so hard. So shit is flying all over the place up in Alaska. They're going to investigate why that pedestrian bridge collapsed in addition to the high winds. They're like, that shouldn't be happening just from wind, but okay. 3 passenger jets, 9 cargo planes, and 1 U.S. Air Force plane could not land in Sunday in Anchorage because of the winds. So they were diverted north to Fairbanks, which is like a 6-hour drive north of Anchorage. At the peak of the storm, 17,500 customers were without power. Currently, there's only 5,050 customers without power. 5,049 now. This county that Anchorage is in has 82,000 customers tracked. So there was about a little less than 15%, a little more than 15%. 5,000 out is 6.1% out. So plus 6. It would have been like 18% of the 18-ish percent of the county was without power. And then this person just explains why it's a very delicate process. Okay. Moving on. Next, let's go to winter weather warnings. There are winter weather warnings in 6 states as 24 inches of snow are to hit. This is footage of Atlanta. I don't know why they're showing Atlanta when this story is not about Atlanta. They're just like, I guess people actually play in the snow in the South, and so they're really excited to be able to show that. Winter weather advisories were put in place for parts of Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, and New York, and winter storm warnings in place for Michigan and Alaska. Places in Alaska are looking at accumulation of 12 to 24 inches, 1 to 2 feet. Other places are looking at mild, like 1 to 4 inches of snow, which is fine for those northern states, but southern states where we don't invest as much in our infrastructure resilience against winter weather, that could be catastrophic. This once in a lifetime event, ooh, love when they say that, will be visible this couple of days. Today, Comet Atlas, the Atlas Comet, is approaching, passing Earth between January 12th and 14th. It reaches perihelion, the closest to the sun, closest point to the sun, at 8.3 million miles, which is actually a really close distance today. And it should be visible if you have the ability tomorrow night to go out right after sunset, about 10 minutes after sunset, and look to the western, southwestern sky. You might see this comet trailing it. Comet will set 35 minutes after the sun and will be positioned about 7 degrees, almost directly above the sun at the time of local sunset. So look right above where the sun sets. About 10 minutes after sunset is when viewers should slowly start scanning the west-southwest horizon with binoculars to catch a glimpse of the comet. So this one hasn't been back near Earth for 160,000 years. So obviously we don't have pictures of the comet itself right now. This is for demonstration purposes, what a comet would look like. But, it's, you know, a comet is a chunk of space, rock, and ice from the creation of the planets. Dust, rock, and ice, frozen chunk left over from the formation of the solar system that heats up and starts to melt as it approaches the sun. The material it spews forms a trail that stretches millions of miles, which could be spotted in the night sky. So that's a comet that's happening right now. And we'll talk later tonight about the full moon. The full moon is currently ongoing. Just made a conjunction with retrograde Mars and has now overtaken that Mars. Here's a really cool story. Hidden metal highways discovered beneath Earth's ancient continents. This is talking about a geological study that was done that revealed that under the tectonic plates, it's been established that there are these carbonate cores. There are these continental cores of carbon-rich materials that melt in the middle. The carbon-rich melts flow upward and outward from the centers of thick continental cores towards their edges. The cores are the thickest bowl-shaped parts of the tectonic plate, that biggest chunk. Melts that form below their centers will flow upwards and outwards to the edges so that volcanic activity is common around the edges. As these melts rise, their composition changes. So just like that mud volcano, where once it raised up to the surface, its sediments started trailing off. These melts, these plumes of parts of the melt will rise internally, and the composition changes as it like drops off silica and metals, sulfur along the way. The loss triggers a chemical reaction that causes metals to drop out of the melt and accumulate in linear patterns along the continent margins. So I'm thinking of this as like bubbles on the side of a glass streaking up the side and leaving little bubbles behind it, or like a bead of water leaving a trail of water rolling down a glass surface behind it, or like that mud volcano just kind of sitting there but leaving a trail of sediment behind it. Only this time it would be more like, instead of the water moving around the sediment would be moving through the water. So they do this upwards and outwards to the edges of the continents, the tectonic plates that form continents, and they draw little paths with their metals that they're precipitating out through the heat and like transfer through the loss of silica. They can't hold that much metal anymore, and that metal precipitates outward as you get to the edges. that means that they create these little trails of metals behind them. And that means that there are veins of metals starting or ending, or however you want to think of it, around the edges of the continental plates. This means that we can, geologists can now explore new areas for mining, for, they say in this article, for things like a green economy, renewable energy, like electric vehicles, wind turbines, and solar panels. The only thing that makes them not very sustainable is that you have to mine for the materials needed to make those things, such as copper, rare earth elements, cobalt, that kind of thing. These metals are in short supply to meet the growing demand. Recycling won't take care of all of it. But this study underscores, it brings out, it highlights the fact that there are untapped reserves for mining. Now, unfortunately, that means that there is a new opportunity for colonization and imperialism to worm its grubby little fingers into what capitalists call the third world. It's actually somebody's first world. Somebody living their first ever life lives there. Somebody brand new to the earth when they were a baby, just like all of us. It lives in these places that they're referring to as potential mining sites, when it's probably places like East Java that are on fault lines and tectonic plate boundaries that will be the most vulnerable to these incoming mining companies. So future exploration and sustainability, this sounds really nice, but seems like a scary headline for those of us who understand the role that mining plays in exploitative resource extraction as a stage of controlling the means of production in a foreign area by a state actor. Like the most clear cut and dry form of imperialism that can be, it's quite literally resource extraction, material resource extraction. So I'm not super excited about the potential for more mining, because this is likely to disturb delicate ecosystems. But it is cool science. It is very interesting to know that these carbonate-rich melts underneath the tectonic plates are shaped like a big bowl with streaks of metal coming out from the center of the bowl. It is scientifically fascinating, but it is politically and ethically concerning and scary that we might have to be protecting the earth at many, many new fronts moving forward. So let's just be responsible with our mining. Everyone, they're all listening to me. So here on the screen is Stellarium Mobile, the the Stellarium web app, I mean. This I have pulled up so that we can look. This is Moon and Mars. Earlier tonight, the moon was back here. Actually, right when I logged on around 10 o'clock, 10:30, about an hour and a half ago. The moon was just overtaking Mars. It was just starting to peek out. So if I go outside right now, I will be able to go look and see Mars out in the night sky right next to the moon. Earlier, I saw Mars right next to the moon on the moon's approach to the conjunction with Mars. And it really did look very red. This is a very close to us Mars right now. Let's see, distance 0.64 AU astronomical units. phase 100%. I forget why it looks extra red today, but there is a reason that it looks more red some days than others. Holes and caves, tectonic sites. It has tectonic activity. Mars lost its magnetosphere 4 billion years ago, possibly because of numerous asteroid strikes. So the solar wind interacts directly with the Martian ionosphere, lowering the atmospheric density by stripping away atoms from the outer layer. So it doesn't really have as much of an atmosphere as it could. It has ionized atmospheric particles trailing off of it into space behind Mars. And this atmospheric loss is being studied. The mean surface pressure is only 0.6% of Earth's surface pressure. The scale height of the atmosphere is about 10 kilometers, which is higher than Earth's 6. So that makes sense because a lower pressure would be spread out over more area. Hydrology. This is a fascinating article. I'm not going to read it all live, but pronounced orbital eccentricity, meaning that its orbit changes a little bit. It's spinning around. In the past, Mars had a much more circular orbit. 1.35 million years ago, Mars had an eccentricity of 2 thousandths, but much less than that of Earth today. But Mars's cycle of eccentricity is 96,000 Earth years compared to Earth's cycle of 100,000 years of its eccentricity cycle. Let's see. Mars has seasons. They're twice as long because its orbital period is longer. The planets come into opposition near Mars's perihelion in At their furthest, Mars and Earth can be as far as 401 million kilometers apart. Mars comes into opposition from Earth every 2.1 years. The planets come into opposition near Mars's perihelion in 2003, 2018, and 2035, with the 2020 and 2033 events being particularly close to perihelic opposition. It should not be confused with Mars conjunction, where the Earth and Mars are at opposite sides of the solar system and form a straight line across the sun. The average time between successive oppositions of Mars, its synodic period, is 780 days, but the number of days between successive oppositions can range from 74 to 812. What's significant about this full moon conjunct Mars is that that means that we are at an opposition with Mars. Or it's really a conjunction in astronomical definition. This distance at close approach varies between 54 and 103 million kilometers due to the planet's elliptical orbits, which causes comparable variation in angular size. At their furthest, Mars and Earth can be as far as 401 million kilometers apart. So right now, astrologically, the moon and Mars are conjunct. That means that the sun, it goes sun, then Earth, then moon, than Mars. So actually, we're at an opposition. Begins a retrograde motion because we're in Mars retrograde. In the middle of this peak, its apparent brightness is in the middle. Mars reaches its peak apparent brightness in the middle of this interval. Okay, so that is why Mars looks the most red and bright right now, is because we're in the middle of Mars retrograde. Currently, Mars retrograde is conjunct the moon. You can see it being overtaken by that moon right here. Yeah. Let's see. What else was I going to talk about? Literally everything else. Hello, chat. I'm sorry I haven't looked at the chat yet. First, must be a high wind chill in Anchorage. Oh, God, I don't even want to think about that. Doctors in the train. Good evening. Good evening, doctor. Do you know there's iron mixed in the sand at the beach? I used to take a magnet to the beach and collect the iron. Huh. I didn't know all sand had iron, but it makes a lot of sense. I'm sorry to blow your mind. You never have to apologize for blowing my mind. I have a stone quarry in upstate New York. It's cool. I find fossils in the rocks. You know, if you have a stone quarry and you're just finding cool rocks, that's one thing. That is very different from exploitative, extractive mining practices as implemented in a system of imperialism. Digging up some cool rocks from a place where you're allowed to dig them up by yourself for your own curiosity's sake is much different than basically enslaving people to dig up the rocks for you and then also stealing all the money you make off of selling the rocks that you stole from them and stealing their labor. That's different. That's the bad kind of mining. I got Adirondack blue stone. It's all flat and in layers. What kind of blue stone? It's like kyanite? I don't know. The giant crawdad emerges from the colossal mud volcano. When's the full moon? We have just had the full moon today. It is currently full. It just reached peak fullness earlier in the daytime today and just reached its full complete conjunction with Mars about an hour ago and has now moved past that. Godzilla arrives to defend Tokyo. Spelled wrong. Well, I don't care about your spelling, Jenny. From the destructive mud volcano crawdad monster. I would watch that movie. Okay, let's take a look at the earthquakes because dun dun dun, we had some big old earthquakes today. I'm gonna move this over here so I can look at the chat while I'm talking to you guys. Okay, so we've got the 6.8, 6.9 being reported here in. Oh, that's not the one I clicked on. Miyazaki, Japan. That is 18 kilometers southeast of Miyazaki, Japan. And am I looking in the right? Yeah. Let me see. Let me open this and move this to the page you can see. Okay. All right. So you can see it here on my little other screen. We've got, this is Miyazaki, Japan. Right here near the Oyoto River is where they would feel it the most. It's over here on the southern end of Japan. What is this island name? I forget. I forget what the name of this island is, but I feel like I'm supposed to know what that is from. I don't know, but down here, down here near Korea almost. It's on the eastern side and could be felt all over the place. Definitely could be felt in Miyazaki, and tsunami warnings have been issued for this. Tsunami warnings have been issued for the area. People are looking to brace themselves for that. So around that time leading up to this, we had a 5.2. We also had a 5.6 in the area. 5.6 was 7 days on the 7th. Let's go back to today's. Holy crap, it's already the 13th. That's crazy. Yeah, this 6.8 was technically this morning at 7:19 a.m. Over here on the north side of Japan, on the Kuril Islands, we have a 4.4 at 91 kilometers depth. That's more recent, and a 4.4 at 10. That was in the middle of the afternoon. There was a 5.0 here in the middle of the Philippines, in the southern Philippines, actually. There was a 5.0 here in Indonesia. This is one of those places I'm talking about being on a tectonic plate border that does not need more extractive industries coming in. 5.0 at 132 kilometers depth. There was a 5.1 here near Papua New Guinea at 34, 5.0 at 82, and a 4.4 at 10. Then, as we get over to the shape, the wave-shaped plate, I always think of it as a wave shape because I think that here with New Zealand looks like the back of a wave, and this curl right here looks like a crashing ocean wave. Like this is the crest, the crashing of the wave. I think in terms of wave movement in all things, and I think the shape of the tectonic plates indicates a fluid flow over geological timescales, and that this is a vortex spinning in. This is a wave crashing that we know as Old Zealand, not New Zealand, Old Zealand or Zealandia, whatever. Old Zealand is probably a cooler name. In my opinion, Old Zealand is what we should call it. 4.7 at 493 kilometers depth. That's a doozy. Real deep down there. But I mean, yesterday we had a 600 depth. So that is in Fiji, Levuka, Fiji. Well, near Fiji, really. And then this 5.0 is getting closer to the Tonga Islands. Then as we keep going through here, we're still seeing some aftershock quaking in Tibet, where this time last week, we had a 7.2. So we've had some big ones. I'm going to filter to the over 6 and overs in the past week in just a minute here. We had 3 significant quakes aftershocking in Tibet there. There's a 5.1 down here on the border of the Antarctic and African plates. This is another place where you would expect there to be, again, metal deposits everywhere where you see these red lines. This is the 4.6 and 4.8 over here in the East African Rift Zone. That has been just hopping, buzzing, doing lots of activity in the past, honestly, calendar year. All of January, it's been really active. Here in southern Iran, we have a 4.7 near Firuzabad, Iran. Stretch it out. I get so stiff down here in the cold. Okay. Firuzabad, what is near you? This is near a very weirdly shaped elevation contour. Very interestingly shaped mountain plateau. Near, what is this river? Doesn't even show it as a river. Okay. USGS, it would be helpful if you translated that, but okay, fine. Fuck you then. It's just here in southern Iran, like due south of Shiraz. Pretty close to the coastline too. Let's see. No European quaking reported on these feeds. We had a 5.0 out in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. That is a, let's see, central Mid-Atlantic Ridge at 10 kilometers depth, right near the equator, very close to the equator. You can see the moon and sun lines. This is the moon line. This is the projection of the moon's orbit onto the Earth as the moon's elevation currently is. And this is the sun line. So this shows the ecliptic plane horizontally and the like north and south normal to the sun plane vertically. I just like to keep those on there because I think it's interesting to see when quakes overlap with them. We had okay, here's where we had those deep ones yesterday. 4.5 at 84 kilometers depth and a 4.4 at 187 kilometers depth here in northern Chile and southern Bolivia, respectively. We'll see if they're near anything. These are places that quake a lot, honestly. Oh, this is reporting this one is in Chile. Oh, no, it's in Bolivia. It's just being reported as a distance away from a Chilean city. But really, it's near Salar de Chiguana. In Bolivia. I say Bolivia because I met somebody from there one time in high school, the foreign exchange student from there, and he always said Bolivia, so I will say it, Bolivia. This is the Salar de Atacama. That's the Atacama Desert. That is out there. Getting distracted by geography. What a shocker. Okay. We got a couple 3s and 3 2s over here between Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. We had a 1.4 here in, you guessed it. This is New Jersey, northern New Jersey. Do you want to take a guess where it is? Let's look. It's not in Edison, not in Highbridge, not even in Lebanon, though it's close. We are near Laurel Farms, New Jersey. What's out here? Old Turnpike Road. Nothing much. Pottersville. Not much else. Hamilton Farm Golf Club. More golf clubs. Oh, look at what's right here. The Trump National Golf Club of Bedminster. Now they are reporting the earthquake as having taken place up here near Cold Brook tributary. But I could have told you without even checking that we were going to. I looked at what the golf courses were around here because I knew that this was going to be near Trump National Golf Club, because that is where we've been seeing quakes pop up in northern New Jersey in the past year. I've just keep noticing them popping up around here near Lebanon, New Jersey, and Trump National Golf Course in New Jersey. It's I have nothing to say about that. I just think it's really interesting when that guy is getting inaugurated next week, and then we keep having earthquakes right close to a place named after him. I think there might be some like symbolic influence, some metaphorical influence. If nothing else, somebody in the writer's room up there in heaven thinks it's funny to send earthquakes to that place. Anyway, here in Oklahoma, we got a stack of 3 quakes. Let's see where they pop up as being 6 kilometers northwest of Greenfield, Oklahoma. It's actually near Blaine, in Blaine County. Greenfield here, and then Watonga. I know some of these place names from studying them as tornadoes pass through. El Reno, I know because they had a massive EF5 tornado pass through there. That was a really bad situation at one point. Norman, Oklahoma, also Norman, Oklahoma, home of the Severe Weather Prediction Center. They've got a National Weather Service offices down there where the Oklahoma, where the university is. Where is that on here? I know this is where, here we go, University of Oklahoma. I went there one time. There's the stadium. This is all the university. I couldn't tell you just looking at this map where the atmospheric buildings were. I want to say, they won't let me zoom in on it anymore, but over here is one of the big headquarters of weather prediction. I visited there. I toured there. They have a really such a cool library. The library. It's like a library that's just the weather books. Like the weather books section is my favorite section of the library, and this is a whole library of just the weather books. I went to it and immediately looked up ball lightning. I couldn't check out some of the things because a lot of it's like dissertations. And let me stop. I could talk about that stuff for too long. We need to talk about today's weather. Here in Texas, we had some earthquakes. We also had a smattering, a smidge, a skosh of 1 point something level earthquakes, all here in this like longitude, kind of vertically lined up in this longitude, like from Utah to Wyoming to Montana. Then let me turn these sizes down. So you can see all the little points, all the little pinpoints are where there were earthquakes. There were earthquakes all over, actually close to San Francisco, close to the Bay Area. We were getting some activity recently. Of course, the geysers out in California has this ginormous stack of quakes. You'd expect that from a place called the Geysers. 3.1 and a 2.2 out here in the fracture zone. We've got one of our most recent quakes on this map is a 3.0 in Alaska. That is way up here on the Alaska range of mountains. I was just looking at this too, because of the wind damage in Alaska. We also have 3.9, 4.0, and 3.3, and a 1.8 out here on the Aleutian Island chain. That's a 4.0 at 73, 3.9 at 38, and a 3.3 at 10. Then down in Hawaii, one lone straggler of a quake at 2.9. Okay. That is, I said I was going to turn it on to just our higher magnitude quakes. So let's look at our 6 and above quakes for the past little bit. We've had the 6.2 here and a 6.1 here in Mexico. We had where'd the 7 go? Are you not going that far back? What? Is this not going to give me? It's not giving me the 7.2 on the Himalayan feed, but I mean, these are our larger quakes. As you can see, they're clustered around certain areas. I don't know why that's not showing the Tibet quake anymore. That's disappointing because I wanted to show something. Well, anyway, that's what we're looking at with those higher level quakes. Oh God, that slowed down the feed a lot. Let's go back there. Okay. Let's go to our atmospheric weather now. Oh God, have I already been talking like an hour? Ugh. I hate talking for so long and then I never get through this. Okay, let me check on your questions though. Oh, no more questions. Okay. Let's see. This chair makes me slouch a little, so it like keeps collapsing my rib cage. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I didn't change my. Yes, I did. Let's make this smaller. Okie dokie. Artichokes. Let's see. So Anchorage still showing, we're under 5,000 customers out now. So they just have 6% of the county is without power from those hurricane force winds that swept through from this low pressure system right here. As you can see, we are occluding right here. We're getting an occluded front. That is a type of front that happens when the cold front overtakes the warm front. Here in Idaho, we have some power outages. We've got 659 people without power in a county that has like 750, 7,500, people. A good percentage, a good chunk of people, 8% are out of power. We've got this system sweeping through the plains. Wind comes sweeping down the plains. We've got, coming from, is this Saskatchewan? Saskatoon is in there. Regina. This province in Canada, coming down the stationary front into Montana, then moving into this cold front, threads the needle between Rapid City and Pierre, South Dakota. Then the center of circulation of the low pressure system is located right here on the Nebraska-South Dakota border. Here in the middle of Iowa, we've got a little bit heavier precipitation that is going to show up as snow, I believe. Yes, here, mostly centered around Fort Dodge in Iowa. We've got some decent snow happening, some decently heavy snow. There's snow all across this area on the ground already and falling from the sky as well. Here in Michigan, we're getting that lake effect snow machine in full effect. We've got that going on in Ontario, just over the border in Canada as well. And also in the Great Lakes regions of Ohio, Pennsylvania, upstate New York. Watertown, a place that usually gets the biggest snow drifts, as well as Oswego, getting dumped on. Dunkirk also getting a whole lot of snow. Buffalo, New York, also getting, well, Buffalo itself is pretty chill, not getting the full weight of it's not getting the full brunt of the direction of the wind. You can see the direction of the wind, not just from where the precipitation concentrations seem to be translating across the stream, but you can also see the direction of those streaks, the orientation of those lines, like the slope of that line will show you the direction of the dominant wind pattern. No, you did not. Zoom into Summit, New York by Cooperstown, 30 miles south. Okay. Is Cooperstown? I don't see. There's Tonawanda, not Tawanda. Cooperstown, Summit. Where are they, like up here near the lakes regions? Let me look at. Schoharie County. Let's see. Where is it on the map? Oh, I froze my computer. I asked it one too many questions. Oh, I forgot I have all these USGS things open right now. Let me close that out, and that might make it happier. Okay. Where's Summit, New York? Map. Oh, I see. I see where it is. Kind of in the middle there. It's not near the lakes. It's more like down here. Cooperstown. Summit. I see it. Right here. So we've got Summit, New York here near Mallet Pond State Forest, and Burnt Rossman Hills State Forest. Let's see. That's where your quarry is. Oh, that's cool. Awesome. Can I come visit? The Cobble, is that what it's called? No, I'm just kidding. That would be funny. Oneonta, that's the Route 10. Yeah, okay. So this is Summit. We've got Bear Gulch Road. That's a great backwoods. That's a great back road name, Bear Gulch. Summit Lake. Doesn't look like a lake, looks like a road. Anyway, it's getting snowed on. Beards Hollow, Lutheranville State Forest. What's that say? Clapper Hollow. That's where all the lights turn on when you clap. Okay, so Summit, New York, right here, getting a decent amount of near Worcester, New York, getting a decent amount of this lake effect snow. It's not like completely missing it like some cities are, but it's not like overly saturated. It's definitely getting a decent little amount there. Things coming off of this lake really is where it's going. Bet it's a hollow road at the top of Beard's Hollow Road. Oh, did it say Beard's Hollow? Not Bears Hollow. Bears. I thought it said Bears Gulch. What did I say? It said it was right next to... Yeah, no, it says Bear Gulch Road, which is, I still think is a cool name. Bear Gulch Pond. All kinds of ponds and roads up here. Okay, so you're getting lots of snow, or a decent amount of snow in your quarry there. There's Bad Gulch, and then there's a Beard's Hollow. Okay. Yeah, you're in the snow belt. I have heard of the snow belt before. To the left, to the left. Let's see. Let's zooming out, looking at this. This system is going to continue to bring snow through the Northeast, the Midwest and Northeast, continue the lake effect snow machine. This current lake effect snow is kind of part of the system that just swept through the deep south, and the one on its tail end sweeping down the plains is going to follow right back up behind it. Most people have had their power restored here in the south, but we didn't get off completely easy. There was a little bit of a rough go of it there for a second. I want to go to let's see where we ended up on. You're on top of a mountain, 2,232 feet. If you go down 20 feet, no, if you go down 10 feet, that would be really cool. If you just like build a little 2222 fort east side the peak. Observe precipitation. Oh, I didn't make this big. That's what I was doing over here. So yeah, we got some decent precipitation in the Gulf yesterday. In the past 24 hours, over the past 3 days, this is all the precipitation we're looking at, most of it frozen. And over the past week, we have accumulated a lot of moisture fallen as precipitation through the Midwest, deep South, Gulf states, Gulf Coast, all these places up, even up in the high plains, the mountain areas, the Pacific Northwest, just about everywhere except for Southern California and Iowa. Weirdly, Iowa got left out of most of these storm systems in the past week, but it's currently getting its snow. Let's see. Hey, Beavis, I've seen the top of the mountain. Okay. Observed snowfall, not looking like much, but that will be a different story within another day. There's going to be more sweeping trails of snowfall. Seasonal snowfall analysis. Let's see where we are. A decent year for snow, honestly. A pretty good snow year. I'm going to have to study long-term trends about what makes a good winter versus a bad winter, of like, this was a good winter as in we had significant snowfall, but it wasn't like you were snowed in the entire time. So I'm going to look for some indications of when we could expect a good winter like this in the future. It'll probably be a healthy spring with all this snowfall up in the higher elevations. Southern California and Arizona really left high and dry here. The Gulf states, too, not getting much snowfall, but that's because this is measuring snowfall, not rain. They've gotten a decent amount of rain over there. It's just shits and gigs. We haven't taken a look at. Well, I haven't clicked on this link in a while. Let's go for this. Zoom in, New York, Massachusetts, Vermont border, please. Okay, in just a second. This is our water vapor loop. We've got, well, down in the southern hemisphere, it's their summer, so they've got the ITCZ blowing up on that side of the equator. We've got some decent moisture kind of pipelining off of that in its northern transport, making it up probably at like not through a Hadley cell, but like through some meridional transport, like some north to south transport is taking place here between South America and Mexico with that moisture. There's also moisture being evaporated from and siphoned off of the Pacific here near the equator. And that's kind of what's been fueling a lot of the rainfall here. You can see all the dry air coming off of Southern California here, though. Look at that. My God. Hopefully the winds that just swept through there, those really dry, brutal, fast winds, are going to be replaced by some colder, maybe more moist air, but it does look like some of the dry air is getting squeezed and squished and squelched and stretched onto the Southern California area. This is the whopper of a storm that is just making its way right off the coast up here. Windy.com is where I wanted to go. Let's look at the winds. I like looking at the streamline patterns. Okay, now I'll zoom in on this border region. Vermont is the one shaped like a V, and New Hampshire is the one shaped like an N. And this is Massachusetts is shaped like somebody putting up their dukes, like putting up their fists, like, why I oughta. Don't you see that in the shape of Massachusetts? Doesn't this look like somebody curling their fists? Kind of like the fighting Irish on the like Celtics jersey or something. Anyway, Petersburg, Pono? I don't know how you say that. Williamston, Berlin. These are all, this tri-state convergence zone is where you wanted me to zoom in. Got Berlin Mountain there. White Rock, Bald Mountain. In Pono. How do you say it? That's where I am in Vermont. I have two farms, New York and Vermont, and in Vermont right now. Hi, everybody say hi. This is a cool looking little town. Yeah, that's really cool. That's a pretty little area. I bet it's gorgeous there. You're near a mountain called the Dome. Taking one straight to the Dome. You're looking at 7 knots. Well, let's do this in miles per hour. Winds at around 9 miles per hour. Wind gusts up to 23 miles per hour. Mostly in the east-southeast direction. Looks like maybe tomorrow by 7 p.m. you'll be getting some snow between 7 and 1 a.m. 7 p.m. and 1 a.m. You'll be getting some snow there. Let's see. Meteogram. This is cool. Clouds, rain, snow. That's really interesting. Wind. Neat. So these are all the different wind directions that were calculated by different models for this timestamp. So this is what's estimated right here, right there. Airgram. Ooh, I like airgram. That's neat. Okay. So this is the time axis. This is temperatures, temperature in Fahrenheit. These are the temperatures, the temperature profile vertically as you go through time. What are these heights? I think these are the millibar heights, possibly. I'm not sure. That looks kind of nasty. What does? You're on the Hoosick River on Dean Road. Ew, I saw it looked like Bruce Lee. What did? That looks kind of nasty. I don't know what looks nasty. Ribbed for her pleasure. That's funny. You know, many things could look nasty if you want them to look nasty. If you have a dirty mind. You know, you don't have to behave on this stream. I don't think there's like children and family present. Well, I mean, my mom watches this stream, but you know, I think she's heard some curse words before. One day I'll have to sit her down and have the talk with her and explain sex. But, you know, for today, I think she just magically thinks I appeared. You're near... Oh, that's where you find your arrowheads, spears, heads, and tomahawks. Who is the native people there? Whose land is that? I have a map for this. I have a map for everything. Here's tribal lands. I want to see Native Land Information System is a place where you can get lots of information, lots of geological survey type maps. Let's see. Where is story maps, dashboards? Which one can show me? Wow, there's so many. Wow. Look at all this data. Woo, buddy. Let's click on this one. Top 10 native lands in the Food System Transition Index of 2020. Interesting. Okay. This is not what I was looking for, but it is really interesting. This is not the map I was looking for, but it's cool. This shows the different land cover categories for everywhere in the so-called United States. So looking at developed forest, herbaceous, and planted cultivated lands here. Very cool. Okay, that's not what I was looking for at all, but that is still really cool. National Green Mountains are in your backyard. Is this? The Hoosick River is right there. Oh no. Oh no. That's a terrible road name. That's, oh God. That's terrifying. Why would you name a road after that? Genocide Road. What? Indian Massacre Road. That's a, God. That's tragic. Okay, now I do have to really look up whose land this is. Mohican people. Okay. The Mohicans. Damn. Well, so that's what it is. I guess that's who was murdered all over the place here. That sucks. We should give it back. Look into deeding your land to the local tribe. Because I think that's the only way we're going to be able to give it back, is if private landowners actually make the conscious choice to start paying tribal taxes, or make the individual choice to give it back to a tribe. You can still live on it. You can still have mineral rights on it. Look it up. There are ways to, if you own land, there are ways to actually make it. And I guess it's technically still part of the United States, but like you can give it back if you want to. And it's probably who needs to have the arrowheads too. But don't bother people about the arrowheads. I'm sure they get that question all the time, and it's probably really annoying. They don't know what to do with them either. Just leave them, give them back to the earth or something. I don't know. I really don't know what you're supposed to do with arrowheads that you find, other than probably don't sell them. Okay. We've gone down a rabbit trail. Let's get back on to the current weather. There was a bad vibe weather in this place now, but Doctor is on the train, in the house, and going to, reclaim this area as possibly, oh, there's Dean Road that you were talking about. You're on Dean Road. Okay, cool. Well, that's where we're showing right now. Murphy Lane, Dean Road. Well, hi, waving at your house. Yeah, you've got winds at about 9 miles per hour. Are these the Green Mountains? Bald Mountain, White Rock, Smith Hill. What is this trail here? The Taconic Crest Trail. Taconic Ridge State Forest. So you live in a, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Kind of like a little northeastern cove almost. This right here, this little water feature here would be a Northwoods Cove. This probably has whatever creek this is right here off of the little lake that comes off the Howick River near Dean Road and Nicholas Way. This probably has some incredible biodiversity here. This looks like a place where a lot of sediment and minerals would eventually end up washing towards. This is probably incredibly valuable and beautiful forest land right here. So cool. That's where you live. Awesome. That is gorgeous. That's got to be a gorgeous area. The end of Green Road, it's set back. Okay, don't put your full address on the internet. I don't know who's watching this. There could be some crazy people who watch me. Not you guys, but you don't want everyone to know where you live. It's back 346. Oh, that's 346. Yeah. Yeah. This is beautiful. Beautiful area. Okay, let's continue on our mission of looking at the weather. Let's go to our solar weather. I'm honestly expecting some solar weather to be crazy soon because my feels like there's been a magnetic storm going on or a radio storm or something. Yeah, we've got geomagnetic activity, active geomagnetic conditions. So that would be why my key fob for my car doesn't work from far away. It does that when there's some pretty active conditions. You see the green? I'm the right there in the green. Do you live in the middle of a national park? Are you a Bigfoot? Do I have a Bigfoot watching my channel? That's so cool. Everything you touch today, Spark. Sent a video of the storm to the Weather Channel. Ooh, I hope you get on it. Everything I touched today sparked that static electricity increases in the cold and the dry. So cold, dry conditions are more optimal for sparking. Could have something to do with it. Now, I'm not near Sarandaga Lake. I'm by Cobleskill in New York. Okay. Some of that makes sense. Some of it is just, I'd have to look it up for it to make sense. The 13th, we had 3 coronal mass ejections. 14th, we have already had 1. Let's see if we got video of any of them. Nah, underwhelming. Underwhelming performance from the CMEs today. Moderate chances of aurora for parts of Canada. Let's look at solar activity homepage. Ooh, we got a decent coronal hole facing us. I bet that there is, if we look, I wonder if there's a filament forming here. God, I missed is the SDO back online? The SDO is back online, people. Oh my God. Okay. So we've got a decent coronal hole here. Looks like maybe a filament trying to form or just launched and formed. Let's see if we've got any SDO imagery. Film. Yes. Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so glad the SDO is back online. Solar Dynamics Observatory was shut down for a little bit. Oh, is so dry and 25 degrees here. Thanks, Cloud. Yes, that would be why you're sparking everything. Let's look at. Ooh, oh, there was a filament launch here. Look at this. Down on the south side. Goes, let me go back to the beginning. This filament right here is about to launch. Watch this. And boom, got a big eruption there. Now that'll go south of the planet because it wasn't on the equator. But look at all these like ripple effects. Everything's looking really spicy, sizzling and cracking and popping, sparking all over the place. Oh, it's so good to see the sun again. It's so good to see the sun again. I'm so glad that we have this back. There we go. Yeah, see, this little region right here looks pretty crazy. It looks pretty stable, but very crazy. And it's right next to the big coronal hole, too. Let's see it in 304, see if we see the mass ejection. Yeah, there we go. Look at this filament launch. Boom, 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 boom. It's been offline for like over a month now. Yeah, I just noticed that they didn't have the warning at the top of the page. Ooh, this one coming in 3959 looks juicy. So does 3958. Yeah, I just noticed that they don't have the warning that SEO is offline at the top. So, yeah, now it's back online, baby. Got a decently southward tilt to the Mars occultation. What do they say about that? Ooh, pretty. People are posting their Mars sightings. North polar cap was visible to the eye on Mars. The Mars occultation. This is a clear sky. Beautiful. People just appreciating the heavens. Let's go to the solar flares. Solar flares not picking back up. We have stayed steadily in the C-class territory. No M-class flares even. Our WSA and Enlil is probably going to be very calm looking. Looks like some smooth sailing for a little bit here. Unless we get some big launches, some pretty crystal clear space weather. Yeah. Let's go. Let's see. Our KP index is at a KP 3-. It reached a 4 today. Here, so we did have active geomagnetic conditions. Let's go now to, oh, I forgot the Schumann resonances. Let's see, probably quiet. Yeah, some pretty quiet on the bands for the Schumann resonances. Now we can go to planetary weather. So here is that Moon-Mars conjunction that everybody's been talking about. The moon passed over Mars here, and that was just after it made its exact opposition to the sun. The exact opposition to the sun was the precise full moon moment, and you're a lot to watch you. I'm single. Well, everyone's a lot to watch you. Allowed to watch me. I'm a part archaeologist. How do you, I'm part archaeologist on my mom's side. That's interesting. My whole life I've been tracking well, probably you mean native people. And also they're still alive. You just go meet some. It's not like an ancient thing. There would be more of them alive if America didn't exist. Okay, let's see. So we've got the moon and Mars making their conjunction in late Cancer. The moon is moving forward, Mars is moving backward. That is because Mars is in the middle of its retrograde cycle. It's at its closest to Earth, which is why it's so bright right now and easily visible. Does a comet play any part in anything? Does a comet play a part in anything? I think it probably does, but what part it plays, I don't know. Planets are easier to observe cycles of because they have more regular cycles. Comets coming close to the Earth have historically been recorded and linked to significant historical events. Like people remember the day of the comet that happened, the day of the comet this happened. But I don't know whether that's a bias from just remembering, oh, a comet doesn't happen every day, so like we remembered what happened that day, or if more significant events happen because there's a big object close to us. Let's see. Comet Atlas is the one close right now. So we'll have to see what happens in these 3 days. Seems like some pretty big stuff happening, like the fires and the earthquake. Not sure what else is going to come, but we'll see. Also, we don't have as much history from 160,000 years ago. Other than archaeological history, we don't have as much written narrative history that would be useful for like interpreting the astrology qualities of the comet. We don't have as much of that from 160,000 years ago available to us right now. So we don't remember what happened the last time this comet came. Others comets like Halley's Comet that will come around more often, people could do studies on, but again, since it's more like a 75-year cycle, it's very hard to take longitudinal studies of those. So moon conjunct Mars, opposite sun, which is almost conjunct Pluto. The sun is conjunct, or the sun is in the decan of Capricorn, where Neptune and Uranus had their conjunction in the early 90s. So this is probably a big one for a lot of millennials. This is probably a big deal full moon for them, for us. We got Mercury in Capricorn at 8 degrees of Capricorn, just about to be in the second decan. I'm very excited for the second decan of Capricorn transit of Mercury. We have Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, squaring Venus and Saturn in Pisces. Jupiter square Venus isn't awesome, but when you consider that Venus is exalted in Pisces, it's probably softening the blow of Saturn square Jupiter. Saturn is in a weakened position, being retrograde and in its fall in Gemini, and squaring Jupiter is in a weakened position, being retrograde and in its fall in Gemini, and it is squaring Saturn. Saturn is direct in Pisces right now. We're getting a lot of Saturn energy from the sun being in Capricorn at the moment. And I just think that this Venus is probably soothing Saturn, helping explain Jupiter's side of the story to Saturn. I feel like maybe the expansiveness of Jupiter is getting rationalized and computed into the goals now that Saturn is working towards. Like maybe we do need to allow some free time for structured play. Maybe we need to structure that into our, things. Anyway, what is position the crab? Cancer. Cancer is the crab. I don't know as much history about people in the Northeast as I do about the people in my region. So that is interesting to learn. Let's see. Let's go next to just doing a little vibe check. Vibe check on the Earth. Oh, gonna play the thingy. The thingy. I rang the thingy. I did it. Okay. The ringy dingy thingy. Your corgis love it. I'll play it again for the corgis. Hi, Duggies. Okay. Selenite magic wand. All right. What is the affirmations deck vibe today? There is an abundance of everything. Shortage is only a perception. With a beautiful birdie, little boy, singing music. You keep thinking there is a shortage of abundance, but the shortage is only a perception. There is a never-ending stream of abundance. There is no shortage whatsoever. Hard lesson to learn. Abundance of everything is giving Jupiter. It's giving that Jupiter, Saturn, Venus action. To me, in my opinion. Shortage is only a perception. Is that Saturn getting enclosed by Venus and Neptune? Now let's go to a lesson from the liminal space with this ocean jasper. Beautiful, Beautiful ocean jasper. Very Jupiterian, Jovian rock as well. Okay, what goes with that? You are not alone in this uncertain place, and it has a picture of somebody being abducted by aliens. You are not alone in this uncertain place. It is kind of a comic card. It is alien abduction. So, crap, that was close enough. Jeezsters. Okay. You are not alone in this uncertain place. The more acceptance there is around how little is truly known, the more rich of a place this has the possibility of becoming. It could feel like the only options are navigating the pitch black or staring directly into the sun. But like all extreme states of being, this is a necessary stop on the way to greater balance. While alienation is a natural response, you are standing on the shoulders of your ancestors, surrounded by the cosmos, underneath the heavens. Quiet the inner monologue narrating your anguish and listen for the truth. You have enough to get through this. That's a great one. I really like that. There's abundance of everything if you learn to not look at the world in absolutes and extremes and learn to live in the gradient. There's an abundance of colors in the gradient. There's an infinite amount of colors in the rainbow if you don't think in categorized, limiting states of being. If you actually expand your mind to conceptualize the gradient instead of 7 spectral colors, you'll never stop naming new colors. You will literally never run out of options of things to perceive in this world if you stop categorizing every experience homogeneously. If you stop saying, oh yeah, if this happens, then this will happen, and then this will happen, so I might as well not even experience it, then you will have new experiences every single day of your life, and you will never get bored of anything if you stop automatically prejudging what's going to happen before it happens. This is the labradorite. It's got a pretty little flash. There's the flash. That's actual flash of it, not just, that's reflection. This is the internal labradorite luminescence. Very pretty colors. Kind of inspiring. I'm going to dye my hair soon, and I'm thinking that might be an inspirational color. I keep saying that every night and then never doing it, but I really do think I'm going to do it soon. My great-grandmother there is from Robert Frost's family. So you're standing on the shoulders of some pretty big giants. We all are intellectually, but in our family history as well. And our non-physical family history as well. Because I do believe in the reincarnation of souls. I kind of don't exactly understand the mechanics of it, but I think mechanics are kind of a limiting perception category. So I don't know how, but I do think that we jump from physical family to physical family through incarnation. But anyway, let's ask the tarot what the vibes are for there's an abundance of everything. Shortage is only a perception. And you are not alone in this uncertain place. 8 of Wands upright just jumped out. 8 of Wands upright is a very abundant card. It may be an abundance of too many actions, too many things you could be doing right now, too many things going on. It's very hard to know what's there's certainly not a shortage of things with the 8 of Wands. It's almost like it's almost too much. I don't think I've ever pulled the 9 of Wands, but I've pulled the 10 of Wands a lot. And the 10 of Wands is way too much stuff going on. 8 of Wands is like, holy crap, there's almost too many wands. Let's get a interpretation going for that, because I feel like there's more to say about that card than I have brain capacity to hear right now. Movement, fast-paced change, action, alignment, air travel. Sprouting Wand, sailing through the air. Go with the flow. Don't resist it. This is good busy. This is not too much. This is just like probably peak performance, performing at your maximum ability to do stuff. The struggles of the 7 of Wands have cleared, which is a kind of a devious energy. You have the freedom and space to move forward. All the wands are sprouting. They're growing. They're moving forward. There's new growth on all of these sticks. There's sitting on a hill in the distance. There's both land and water and a lot of sky. So there's a lot of air movement in this. While it's a fire sign card, a lot of movement here. And actually, the 8 of Wands, which decan is this going to be? That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is going to be the first decan of Sagittarius, corresponds to the 8 of Wands. So really fast-paced motion. Oh, I got some soot on me from this candle. Also invites you to be laser focused with intentions and actions. I intend to be doing this when there's Mercury in the second decan of Capricorn. Recently got an anointing oil I got a bit of magical material related to that decan and looking forward to using it. We got a strike while the iron is hot. It's an action oriented card. There is an abundance. There's no shortage of things. If you've been waiting to do something because you're waiting to have enough of something, this is your sign to go ahead and do it because you got it, baby. You could do a lot of traveling, move quickly to pursue your best opportunities, make that offer, extend that offer to go travel, take that offer up to go travel, do activities that align with your goals, do things that, do what you want to do because you really have the ability, the security, the availability of all resources, material, energetic, and physical, to do it. I think this is my sign that I need to just go ahead and bleach my hair because I have been waiting to strike while the iron's hot. And currently is Moon conjunct Mars this is the time to do it. I really do think this is the time to go ahead and commit to that action, maybe an action you were just dreaming of around the time of the new year. It's been 2 weeks since the last new moon. Just go for that action. I really think that you should. Okay. That is where I'm going to leave it for today. Just a short hour and 45-minute episode. And now I'm going to go do my hair. Great. And I really thought I was going to get back on I did wake up at a decent time this morning. Okay, let's go ahead and close this out. My name's Cloud Hudson. You've been a great audience. I love you guys so very much, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Good night. Goodbye.